Hi, I'm Tracy Soltis, your leading health and nutrition coach and molecular biologist. I've consulted with hundreds of people around the world on their human journey. So if you're a seeker looking for answers, information and knowledge, you'll find it here. Come on a journey with me as I explore the science, the physical body, and the cognitive and energetic space of what it really means to be human. All right, welcome back everybody to another amazing episode at the Mind Body Studio. Today I'm going to be joined by Renata Popis, who is a soulful business and mindset coach based here in Perth, Western Australia. Renata is also an energy healer, yoga teacher, and a huge advocate of running a heart-centered business with ease, flow, and soulful alignment. Her biggest passion in life is to mentor female business owners ready to expand in their spirit, service, strategy, and pleasure. I love that. Renata helps women to build an abundant business while reawakening their divine feminine essence, magnetism, and personal power. In her coaching program, she loves to fuse business energetics, abundant mindsets, and soul-aligned strategy. That's something I definitely need as well. Renata believes that running a heart-centered business is an expression of one person's true soul. This is a purpose that serves the greater good, heals the collective, and ultimately raises the consciousness of the planet. Renata is available for group and private coaching sessions, along with her online intuitive programs as well. So today I'm going to be chatting with Renata about what it means to be working, a life of balance and purpose, how to work with your purpose and intention, and how it's not only beneficial for your happiness and fulfillment, but also your health and well-being. We'll also be exploring limiting beliefs and blocks around creating your dream career, how to magnetically attract what you truly desire, and how abundance and money have exactly the same frequency, and how we can invite both of them in with passion. Wow, that's a lot. Hi, welcome, Renata.
Hi, I'm so happy and honored to be here. Welcome.
Thank you. And I'm so happy to have you. And you know what? I'm going to be honest in saying, because there was so much in our introduction, and because I'm so excited to have you on, we had to re-record your intro a couple of times here. So we got through it, and which is awesome. And what I would love to do is just to get you to chat a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are right now, so our listeners can learn a bit more about you.
Okay, beautiful. So my journey started from a corporate environment. I actually worked in a bank for 10 years, and for majority of my adult life, I actually thought it's my soul's purpose. And I wanted to be, this woman climbing the corporate ladder career and, having this everything figured out and having good income and great stable life. And only after a few years of going deep into it, I actually realized that it was more of my conditioned mind, and it was just coming from somewhere else than my soul's purpose. I actually realized that it was my mom who always dreamt of me doing this.
Interesting.
Things. Yes.
And so at what point did you make that realization? Like, how far did you get through into your career and go, was it a feeling of, hang on, I don't feel like I belong in this space? Or like, what happened? Was there a pinnacle point?
So it was actually interesting because I was doing everything that I'm truly passionate about after my work. So I was dividing my life into work and into my passion. And I just at some point realized that, I can just change my passion into profession. And I really wanted to put much more heart and soul into all of that. So there was this point, when I was just waking every day and I was like, there is more to life. Like my soul has whispered, like, you're created here for something else, for bigger things. So I had this deep, deep calling within me. And at some point, after 10 years exactly, I decided to go to India. I did my yoga teacher's training there, and we had one spiritual ceremony. And during this ceremony, we were asked to imagine our dream life. And I was like, I believed in manifestation. I believed in co-creating reality with the universe. I was like, okay, universe, if you're there, I'm going to be crazy, I'm going to be bold, and I'm really going to desire, think about something that I think I would allow all my skills to shine through me. So basically, when I was in India, I just dreamed of, okay, I want to live on an exotic island with sun almost all year long. I want to work in a holistic business, empowering, inspiring women. And work like 10 hours a week, right? So it's like going wild and bold. And it was interesting because I lived in Warsaw in Poland at the time, in a big city, traveling every day in the traffic with only 3 months of summer a year, working in a bank, which is a very like a raw institution when I'm like almost just a number.
Yeah.
And then I dreamed about all this crazy life that it's almost, you would think of, it's not possible in one lifetime to actually go from point A to point B.
Yeah.
But when I was in India, something happened energetically. There was this strong conviction and strong trust in me that this is what I'm here to do. And I just really believe that the universe will reorganize everything in my reality in order to match not just energetically, but also in my desired reality. And guess what? I came back to Poland, and then literally a few months later, I got unexpectedly invited to Australia to teach dancing here because I was also a dance teacher.
Wow.
And I opened my first holistic business, and I moved to Perth that I didn't even know that a city exists like that, that you have like this lifestyle, weather, ocean, everything that I've desired. So
that's your exotic island.
This is my exotic island. Because it is an island, right?
Yeah.
So this was the beginning of my complete redirection of the trajectory of my life. And I started to run my holistic business, Shape of Harmony, that is actually open until now. I'm still running yoga classes, retreats, workshops. And then I kind of noticed that I do have, I call it skill set, mindset, and soul set. I realized that I have knowledge around marketing. I was really diving deep into my inner game, inner work, and I started to really cultivate abundant mindset because I left my comfort zone so many times, getting outside the safe space. Yeah. And then on top of that, because I practice yoga for the last 20 years, I really have this deep connection with my energetic body, with my intuition, being able to feel when I'm in alignment and then out of alignment. And I started to connect. I call it like a divine trinity pillars. Yeah. And I connect all of that. And different business owners started to come to me asking for guidance, asking for support. And I just noticed, oh my God, my heart and soul sings when I'm able to share everything that I've learned along my way, along my journey. And this is how the business coaching started.
Yeah. And I love that. That's great because it's and what I'm curious about, because you've seen me, I'm writing notes because as you've been talking, I'm like, oh my God, I need to know more about this. Because I kind of ran on a similar space as well, in that I didn't work in a bank, but I worked in corporate and projects, and, we have a family business and those sorts of things. And it wasn't until I really tapped inwards and started listening to myself, I went, what am I doing? Like, there has to be that, exactly what you said before, there has to be more to life than this. This is not it. I don't feel like I'm running in my purpose. And when I started really listening to myself, which is a really interesting concept, because you think that you're listening to yourself all the time. You go through life and you're listening to the voice in your head, but there's a difference between the voice in your head and then your soul's knowing, and what that looks like, and what the soul is trying to communicate to you and tell you. Here is a path, and here are all of the beautiful things that you can do. But we get so fixated on all of the external things that we just never have time or the patience to actually stop and listen to that. And it wasn't until myself that I did that as well. And I kind of hit that burnout, overwhelmed. What am I doing? Like, this cannot be how life is supposed to be. That I stopped, because my body pretty much crashed and burned as well. And I went, oh my gosh, things just started falling into place, like so effortlessly as well. I mean, of course, there's always going to be the ups and downs of life. There's always going to be traumatic events and working our way through those events that happen. But when we look at the dimensional aspects of it, of what it means to be human, the soul's knowing is right there. The intuition is right there. We just have to pay attention to it. And I think my question to you is that when you started doing these, having this sort of work and working with different people, how many people have you come across now that are in that similar space and have kind of had that awakening and have gone, oh my gosh, like I need to completely change my career. This is not working for me.
Yeah, so there's this moment in your life when you're, like you mentioned, you just have enough and you're starting to literally question everything, every thought, every belief. And then, is this coming from you? Is this thought in some way limiting you? Is this thought and belief not in alignment with what you truly desire? And I just believe that the soul always knows, right? The voice is always there. You just cannot allow your fear to be louder than your heart desires. Mm-hmm. So I'm super passionate about, guiding my clients around finding safety in their body and then trust in their body. So, guided meditation, yoga practices, somatic practices, because when they are able to quiet this fear, and, big ego will always scream. I always say the soul mantras is more, the ego's mantra is less. Yeah. So whenever we go outside our comfort zone, the ego will feel, oh, I'm in danger. This is triggering. I need to go back what I know. Whereas our soul constantly wants to grow, constantly wants to expand. It has this intuitive, deeper inner wisdom, inner GPS, and we do receive constantly a lot of guidance, a lot of downloads. So if we are able to, make our ego our friend and be like, you're there. Thank you so much. Thank you for supporting me. But I'm good. I'm ready to go outside my comfort zone. And we're going to start listening to those, deeper whispers of the soul. Like you said, we are always guided. I believe we are always guided by the universe. We are always supported by the earth. So you get this deep trust and also deep trust in yourself that everything that you've experienced along your journey, it's either a lesson for you to be closer to who you are here to become, or a divine redirection, right? So any failure in life is literally a divine redirection. And if you're going to gain this trust, you're going to feel much more safer in your heart. Like suddenly your heart is your home. Like I lived in 5 countries and, my heart is my home. Yeah. And I can really deeply trust that if I have this deep desire in my soul, it means that it's for the greater good. It means that I'm almost a channel, a container to share my gifts, to share my medicine. And I love to say that our soul has already arrived at the destination of our desire. Now the mind, the body, they need to catch up.
Yes. Right? Yeah, definitely. And it's like I'm just so engaged with everything you're saying because it's exactly how I feel as well. And that whole connectedness, the knowing that we are all one being, essentially. We've come into this space and we're here to learn and go through this journey, but we forget that we're all connected to each other. And like you said, the download of information that comes through is so abundant and amazing if we're able to tap into that. And so what I kind of want to chat about, in this conversation is we wanted to kind of help people who might be wanting to step away from fear and actually come more into themselves and what that might look like. So for people who, because fear is a big one, and especially in the time that we're living right now, it's really difficult for people to let go of fear and actually step into their own space. There's a lot of trust, like you said, that needs to happen within ourselves and allow ourselves to actually trust that we know what we're doing. Even if the information might not be there right now, it will come up exactly at the point in time when we need that information to arise. And so letting go of that fear can be incredibly difficult for people, especially if they're going into a completely different field that they've never been in before, but they know that's where they want to go. It's that they're letting go of maybe financially, like they're in a position where they need a certain amount of money, or they think they need a certain amount of money to live their life, or they're used to having a lot of things, or certain cars and houses and material things. And, sometimes we have to work our way through clearing those things out as well so that we can step in to a space where we're ready and go, you know what, I'm ready to let all that go and see what happens and see what this amazing journey has got for me. That can be really difficult for people, not just to believe in themselves, but to let go of all the external things as well. Would you agree with that?
Well, I would say, first of all, that we almost never become fearless. The fear will always accompany our journey. So what we want to do, we want to recognize the monster, right? So we need to really understand, where is this fear coming from?
Yeah.
So what is this fear telling me?
Yeah.
And then what is this fear preventing me to become and to do? Yeah. So anytime when you're working with your limiting beliefs, the first part is the awareness, is the recognition. And again, is it coming from me? Is it the fear that has the society, my parents, culture, everything around me caused to grow, to be ingrained in my cells? Or is it really my fear? So first of all, a lot of journaling, a lot of reflection, trying to almost disconnect from the emotional aspect of fear and almost looking as an observer. Okay, what are you trying to tell me here? And what are you trying to prevent me from doing? But in a sense, also in a way, prevent me from following my soul's purpose.
Yeah.
So obviously it's very challenging when we are in a survival mode. We cannot be in a thriving, abundant mode, right? So we want to quiet down the fear. If it means having a better financial stability, when I quit my work, it wasn't like, oh, I'm just going to fly away and, trust the universe. I had savings.
Yes.
I've completed my multi-style yoga teacher's training in India. I knew that yoga will support me in a way.
Yes.
So there was this baseline that I was thinking, even though I had this deep trust in my soul, I didn't completely,
You're not off in the cosmos with the fairies sort of thing. Like you're still grounded with your feet planted on, the earth, which is important to understand in that what we're not saying, okay, just quit your job, sell off all your assets, and then just start again. I mean, that's not really realistic or logical. Of course, to survive in this sort of social capacity, we have to have certain things and we have to kind of have savings or support. And that was the word that came to my mind as soon as you said it was, the support network around us. So, and that might even be something that you establish before you start making major changes, is start putting the feelers out for different things that are around you, support groups or business coaches or people who are like-minded with yourself, and see if you can get some more information and resources from that particular field. Would that be something that you would suggest?
I would definitely agree, because when we have this a little bit more easiness and less level of stress and fear of lack, we are able to show up more from a heart-centered, soul-aligned space. And this is something that I also love to coach my client to see what is the intention behind your actions. Because, if someone quit their work, they don't have any money, they are starting a new business, let's just assume they are like health and wellness coach like you. Right?
Yeah.
So you're putting out the program out there and you're like, oh my God, I need money. I need to pay my bills. I need to survive. So sometimes we might not realize that we are coming a little bit from this scarcity and lack. And in this way, we are just sending a different frequency of energy instead of being, I'm not really that energetically attached to the final outcome. I'm just here to serve, to share my gifts, to share my medicine, and I really trust. So if we have this baseline, can be financial, can be emotional, can be, like you mentioned, maybe working with a business coach, then we can come more on those higher vibrational levels, more thriving, more trust, more abundant, quieting down a little bit our fear and our ego.
Absolutely. And I love to think of it as a pyramid. So as a triangle, is that we've got these three elements that need to be worked through and balanced. And that's the mindset, so our cognitive identity, but also our physical body and also our energetic space as well. Mm-hmm. And when one of those is out of alignment, it completely affects the other two spaces. And so I know for a lot of people, sometimes it's hard for them to process the energetic space because they don't really understand what that is, or, But I like to use the thought of, you know for yourself, if you're sitting in a room and someone enters who's in a bad mood or is resonating a negative energy, you are automatically feel as though you move away from that person. You don't go towards them, you feel away from them, or you wouldn't approach them, or you wouldn't make eye contact with them. That is an energetic response. It's not just the physical body and the mindset. It's actually the energy feeling on the energy of the other person. And I'm guessing it's the same when you're actually putting that intentional energy out into the universe. If you're making these changes and you want to live from your heart space, you have to be resonating with the energy and getting caught in the positive and the good intentional energy and letting go of the negative and the fear and the things that lower our frequency. Is that something?
Yes, I would say that our energetic body expresses itself through our emotional body. So what we are looking at is a full body, big heart-centered yes. So whenever you feel open and expansive and uplifted, this is how the intuition is communicating through the sensations in your body. And this is just giving you this message. Yes, go for it. This is it. The same way as you mentioned, if you feel a little bit contracted, if you feel heavy, if you feel like it just feels off, it means that it's not in alignment, it doesn't serve you, and it can be really incorporated in every aspect of our life and also in our business, right? If we are following this strategy because the other person is very successful following the strategy, it doesn't really feel in alignment, but again, let me try it. But everything in your body is telling you, I'm not sure about it, something is off, I don't feel into it. So again, constantly listening to this voice of intuition, because your soul always knows.
And I think another point on that is not to get caught up on what other people in your industry are doing as well.
Definitely.
Do you know what I mean? Because you can get lost in going, oh, but they're doing this, and like, look how many followers they have on their social media. And it's like, well, just calm down a little bit. Like, that's okay. Like, what you're trying to attract is the people that resonate with your service. I mean, people are naturally drawn to your space and what it is that you're providing, not necessarily, you might not be aligned with the people that are going to the other people in that space. Would you agree with that as well?
Definitely. And people are going to always feel that something is off. You know, the way you show up, your content, your words, they carry very powerful energy. And I can see it in myself, sometimes when I'm creating certain content that just my heart is just so expansive and, I'm writing something and I feel so emotional, but it's so connected.
Yeah.
It is received so differently than if I was to put a post, okay, I wasn't on social media for 5 days, let me just put a post.
Yeah.
So people will always feel either they're going to realize that or not. But I'm such a strong advocate of, mastering energetics in your business and then soulful alignment and following your intuition rather than, be like a strategy hopper. Let me try this and let me try that.
So let's explore that a bit more. Like, what are some of the points or some of the, I guess the call to action things that you could plant the seeds for people who are going, wow, this is what I need, but I still don't know where to kind of start. Like, what would be, say, your top 3 things that you would recommend for people to do?
Well, first of all, you really want to connect with your heart-centered desire and then ask yourself, is it really yours? Or maybe you're conditioning your thinking that you should be doing or you need to do this. Some people, they hate social media and there's no point forcing them to be on them. So there is always a path for you to follow that it's more in alignment with your soul. So quieting all those, what other people are doing, what the shoulds, what the needs, what your heart and soul truly desires. And it's like things, it's open, it's expansive. So this would be the first thing. Even if you're, setting up a New Year's goal, what do you truly desire and why do you truly desire? So really connect with your heart-centered why.
Yeah.
And the second thing is I would explore if there's anything in your belief system that might be not in alignment with your desires. We're talking about here cultivating more freedom, more abundant mindset, because sometimes we might be huge visionaries and we want to make a very big impact and heal masses and create an enormous, big, beautiful community. And then, the wealth, prosperity, abundance will come to us as a side effect. But at the same time, we might be cultivating mindset around the money that might not serve us as much. And in this way, there's this discrepancy between conscious manifestation thinking that we know it's only 5%, right?
Yeah.
And then the unconscious, subconscious limiting beliefs potentially that might be stopping us from manifesting or, achieving what we truly desire. And this is a 95%. So again, another thing that I really love to work with my clients is to going a little bit deeper into your subconscious mind, into your mindset, into your belief system, into self-alignment energetics. And then from there, taking aligned and inspired action that is going to be so much more potent, so much more powerful. So first step, connecting with your heart desires. Second step, dropping deeper a little bit into your limiting beliefs, rewiring them. And this is a whole other conversation and story.
Absolutely, because when you're talking about the 95%, there's a lot of cycles that play out over and over and over again. And, I see that here on my couch in my clinic is people getting caught up in these cycles, but they're not aware of it. And so they can't pinpoint it. And so that in itself, we need to actually stop and take notice of what's happening in our body and how we're reacting and those triggers that are playing out time and time again. Because if we ignore them or we're not seeing them, we'll repeat the same cycle patterns. And so one of the biggest things I see is negative self-talk. Huge. It's a huge issue for people, and even they can be going really, really well, but they're always competing with these negative self-talk patterns that come up. And so breaking that cycle is really important, and we work through that here is putting strategies in place and tools and tips and things that they can practice when they leave, so that when these things come up, they know how to deal with them, because thoughts are not facts. We have to distinguish between the two, and we have to realize that the thoughts that we are having doesn't necessarily counteract any truth whatsoever. And that plays out. And I'm sure that comes up in business as well because of the self-doubt and the fear and these things. It's not as though you go, oh, I'm going to put all my fear aside and I'm going to plunge straight into it. You might get 6 months into a new career and you go, oh my God, what am I doing? Like, I'm never going to, and I do it myself. I literally do it myself. I've had plenty of tears in the kitchen. I can even see it now, talking to my husband and going, what am I doing? Like, like who's going to come and see me? Who's going to, like you have all of this self-doubt, and it's hard not to, you have to cut the cord of that and not get caught up in all of the emotional aspect and the roller coaster that happens from that, because it just brings you down again. You need to, kind of work through ways of cleaning that out, cleansing it and going, right, hang on, this is me just having a little moment, but we're back on track. And that can be really difficult for people, especially when they're changing careers and are unsure of their purpose. I think they know, and that's what I see here as well, as especially for men more so, which is interesting. Okay. I see men, and we're going to talk about the feminine divine energy really soon, because I really want to talk about that. But I do see men who get lost in their purpose. They're unsure. So they're the provider, the protector. So they go out and they get the job so that they can make the money, so they can provide and protect for their family. And it isn't until longer down the road that they go, like, I'm really unhappy. They're not looking after themselves. Their mental health deteriorates. And it is because they're not living their purpose. And when they realize this, then they get overwhelmed with the feelings of, I don't know what my purpose is. I actually don't know what to do with myself. What do I really want? Like, I don't want to be working in a building in an office for 40 hours a week. I actually want to be out in nature and doing something else. And it's that understanding that one job will provide them with all of the material things that they want. The other job and the other purpose might not. And there might be consequences to that, to them and their family. And sometimes it's difficult for them to actually make the call and actually change. So anyway, I've wafted on, but yeah, that's what I see a lot of here, is that negative self-talk. And people, do you see that as well?
Oh, I can see a lot of issues around embracing entrepreneurial mindset for soulful business owners, because I'm one of them. I'm just here to share my passion, to serve. I just really want to help people. And then sometimes we forget about ourselves. And sometimes we also have a negative beliefs around, getting rich, like spiritual people cannot earn money, right? And then inviting more abundance. So what I feel it's doing a lot of work around shifting perspectives around things that we might have negative beliefs around. Just give you an example. For example, a sale process, right? You can look at sale as just exchange of a transaction that you're receiving money for. And then I look at sale is intimate, trustworthy and beautiful deep relationship between two souls where I'm just sharing my gifts, I'm sharing medicine, my passion, and there's this beautiful exchange of energy that can heal. And like you mentioned in the beginning when you introduced me, ultimately raise the consciousness, raise the vibration of the planet. And I'm just a container. I'm just here to share. This is how the universe wants to express itself through me. So when I release this, need to identify, again, this is when ego comes to play, identifying who am I, whether people going to like me, whether, I'm really able to offer those transformational containers. When I put everything on the side and I'm here with my heart open, I just want to share what I love. And I know if it's implanted in my heart, it means that it will help someone. Then the whole sale process, suddenly it's become much more sacred and beautiful and has nothing to do with money ultimately.
And I love how you've used that analogy of I'm the container to provide this medicine and this information to other people and to help other people, because that's how I feel too. And I see that a lot in other people, because I think once I came into this space, I now am connected with so many like-minded people who are sitting in that space as well. And I think that's important for listeners to know, is that once you change your mind on something and once you actually go make a conscious decision to make a change, things start coming to you. People come into your life or across your path that are there for exactly the right reason. It might be a really short, brief encounter. It might be something that turns into a really long partnership or friendship or relationship in that space. But regardless of that, it is the universe providing exactly the right information to you when you need it at that point in time. And it's such a beautiful space to sit in. I'm getting chills, but it's such a beautiful space to come into. It can be really daunting as well. I've had times where I've been so open and I've had to set a few boundaries for myself because the universe provides too fast, too many things too fast. All these people will come in, I'm there's so much going on. And I actually have to set myself some boundaries of what I can manage, because we are still in a human body as well, right? We have our limitations.
You're touching beautifully here, embracing more empowered feminine energy in the business, right?
Yes.
Protecting your aura, protecting your energy.
Exactly. And so let's talk a little bit about that, because that is something that a lot of women struggle with, is understanding cycles, for example, and understanding that we flow differently to the masculine energy. There are times where we have abundance of creativity flowing through us, and then times where we need to rest and recover, because you can't have all of this amazing awesomeness come through without there being some rest time on the other end of that, okay? And again, so like I spoke about men on my couch, women on my couch come in on burnout because they don't understand or work with their cycles and with their bodies, and they think they have to go all the time. And it's getting them to understand that things are in balance. We are part of nature. We are part of the equilibrium. And so we're not meant to go all of the time. So let's just talk a little bit about your your experience with the feminine.
So I actually went through the same process because I was raised without my father. So my mom always told me, you have to, support yourself and be this superwoman, do all the things and be constantly in this overflowing, and I would say from a perspective of time, a little bit wounded masculine energy. And I went to the point that I actually burnt myself out a couple of years ago. So masculine energy for like centuries supposed to be this better energy, this energy of action, this energy of creation, of achievement. But when you look at the difference between the feminine and masculine energy, the feminine energy is the energy of creation. It's energy of birthing something into existence.
Yeah.
So I mentioned about
it's powerful.
Yes,
it's an incredibly powerful energy. Anyway, sorry, yeah.
No, good. So basically, if we are open to receive the flow of the energy, we are connected to the source. We have those amazing downloads of programs, of offers, and how we can support our community. We have this deep trust in the masculine, because universe is the masculine energy. So our feminine in us trust that the universe will deliver, that the universe will take care of us. And then we can flow with our intuition. So feminine energy is saying yes to this inner wisdom, to this inner guidance and GPS, that it's much smarter than your mind. Because your mind can be limited at times.
Absolutely. It is 100%. And I really want to give people some understanding of how they can drop into that feminine space, because we're not saying you have to go and paint your nails and, like all of those classic stereotypical feminine things. We're talking more from an energetic space, aren't we? So like dropping into that self-care space, like really nurturing your body through different modalities. Do you have some that you kind of provide for your clients, or you recommend?
I love all the somatic work. So I love guided meditation, visualizations, yoga practices. But I would also say to look at it from the perspective of the frequency of our energy, and then cultivating certain emotions. So we really want to go into this higher vibrational space. So the highest vibrating emotions are emotions of gratitude, love, appreciation. So how you can cultivate more of these energies in your life. This is how we also open this feminine flow. So think about what brings you the biggest and greatest joy.
Yeah.
Allow yourself to be in your joy, like children.
Yes.
They are just, even in your business.
Yes.
Think about what activities in your business bring you the biggest joy, and how you can invite more this childlike energy into everything that you're doing.
Yes, and removing the things that don't resonate with that as well. Like the amount of toxic relationships that people kind of hold on to because they feel they need to. That could be friendships or working relationships or all sorts of different things. There's a way of letting those things go with kindness and compassion and done with grace, rather than, in a really aggressive kind of upsetting way that can really harm you. And I think that's important to understand as well, is that a lot of people do get caught up in holding on to things, holding on to people and relationships as well. And sometimes they have run their course, but it's difficult for people to let them go. Would you see that as well?
Well, I would say that it wouldn't serve on both sides, right? If we have this big resistance in us, if there's this intention behind our action, I need this, I should do it, or there's like a pursuit, there's chase, there's need to control. Again, we might be falling deeper into this maybe not very empowered masculine energy. When you are allowing your business or your life to unfold itself, maybe not, exactly the way you want it, but when you look at the quantum physics and the universe and how it works, it doesn't work on any timeline.
I love that you just say quantum physics. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're so alive. This is just... Anyway, keep going.
No, so the universe works on alignment and on frequency, right? So the universe will never give us something that we cannot either deal with or is just not in alignment in this particular moment. So whenever we are resisting something, whenever you are holding on to something, and whenever we have this very strong energetical attachment to something, we don't allow life to flow through us and unravel itself in the most beautiful and perfect way. So feminine energy is also about deep trust, leaning back, and recognizing when you're kind of going against the grain, when you're going against the flow.
Yes, definitely.
And then give yourself this space.
And stepping into that space of the flow as well and allowing it to happen. Because I know from my own experience, before now, obviously leading up through my corporate career, my life was quite rigid and very boxed in. And so that my body was always trying to push against it, and it was very energetically exhausted because I was just never letting the flow happen. And I feel like that's where a lot of women are kind of feeling stuck in not being able to express themselves, not being able to go with the flow so much. They are kind of stuck in these boxes, and that I keep making this signal with my hand because that's kind of what I visualize is like that. You imagine like a river flowing through a box, and like you're trying to get washed away a little bit with the current, but you can't. You're kind of stuck in that space where you just can't escape it. And what we're saying is, stepping into that more and letting go of some of those walls and boundaries so that you can flow and step into your space where you can take ownership and of your true inner self, right?
Definitely. And when you're creating this spaciousness, this is when the abundance will flow in, right? So when we are stuck in this masculine energy and constantly do, and have very strong, rigid expectations and this need to control, we don't actually allow to receive,
yes.
to be given what
totally.
we truly desire.
Yeah.
So it's, and then there might be sometimes this, the need to work really hard, but deep inside, we might not believe that we're actually worthy of receiving.
Yes, and that's a whole other conversation of like the values and the feelings of worth and stepping into that space and knowing that every single person has such a beautiful opportunity to contribute and to provide a service and a medicine, such as yourself and other people that are doing the same thing. Everybody has an opportunity in a different way or a capacity that resonates with them for the greater good of everybody and all of our oneness, right? It's just sometimes it's really difficult for people to believe in themselves and to go with that. And so because we are actually at 40 minutes, would you believe? Can you believe that? That's crazy.
No.
But what are some of the things you'd love to leave our listeners with to take away from our chat today?
So I would say, first of all, really tap with this feeling that you are already abundant, that abundance is your birthright. And I always love to kind of compare, you have an opportunity to shift from 3D matrix into 5D creatrix. And there's infinite possibilities in the quantum field. You can actually design everything that you desire, everything.
Yeah.
Only I can say that only your belief system is your glass ceiling, but you can work through that as well.
Yeah.
So the first thing is to empower you. You are worthy. You are a beautiful, abundant creature, and you can create everything that you desire. So this is one of the most empowering thoughts that you can have in every minute of your life, really.
Absolutely. And I love that. And I love that you've thrown some quantum mechanics in there because that's like my jam and I love it so much. And I feel like you'll have to come back and we can have a really in-depth conversation about what that looks like for those listeners who are into that sort of space and they are thinking a little bit more five-dimensionally and things like that. And so, if people want to contact you, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
So I do hang around a lot on my Instagram, Renata Popis, and you can also contact me through my website, renatapopis.com. So I think that these two ways are the best.
Awesome. And have you got some workshops coming up soon? Or I know we're all on break soon, so because it's summer here at the moment, and so everyone's taking some beautiful time off. But do you have anything coming up or anything exciting, any events or anything for next year?
I was actually thinking about organizing 5-to-5 workshops in Perth. End of January, beginning of February. I'm still finalizing this.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And that wasn't written down, by the way, so it's just intuitively
literally I thought about it last night. So
yeah, awesome. See, we're like super aligned. Our little quantum boxes are like opened up. So thank you so much for coming in and chatting with me about intuitive business and what that means and living through abundance and heart space. That's what it is. It's all about living your true self through your heart space.
It's all about really coming back to your heart space.
And I would love to have you come back because I feel like we didn't cover maybe a quarter of the things I've got listed here. And I would love for you to come back and chat a little bit more in depth of that for creating a really fulfilling career and purpose for people.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel like we're so in alignment.
I know.
Everything is
crazy.
just something is happening in the air here.
I know, and I'm listening to you, I'm like, yep, I agree with that, I agree with that, I agree with that. And so it's like, I just let her keep talking because it's awesome. And so if you are enjoying these podcasts, please share them with your family and friends, because that's how we get the words out there. We share this information. And so if you feel as though there's someone out there who could really value this conversation or any of the other episodes, if you're following the podcast at all, please make sure you're sharing. And if you're really loving it, please don't forget to leave me a 5-star review as well, because this is how we kind of create the momentum and we get the words out there, and I get to have more beautiful guests on my show. So until next time, thanks again, and I'll see you guys next time. Okay, see you later.
The information, views and opinions expressed on this podcast should not be used or treated as a substitute for nutritional, medical, psychological or other advice by a qualified medical health professional. Hosts and guests on the podcast express their own opinions, experiences and conclusions, and nothing on the podcast should be used to diagnose, treat, cure or prevent any medical conditions. The podcast is not intended to replace any medical or mental health treatment. All information and advice provided is for general well-being and does not take individual cases into consideration. Neither Tracy Soltis, guests on the podcast, or any sponsors endorse the opinions, views or conclusions expressed or shared on the podcast. Tracy Soltis takes no responsibility for any symptoms or consequences as a direct or indirect result of this podcast.